Good morning, and welcome to another Foyer Talk. A little history on how Foyer Talks work, at least for me. My Foyer Talks are every other Thursday, and I usually record them on Wednesday because I'm a full-time paramedic instructor in Philadelphia, so I'm usually not available to do this on Thursday. And you have to understand that right now it is early Thursday morning, because we'll talk more about why I didn't record this on Wednesday a little bit later. So over the past several months, we've all lived with restrictions and face mask wearing and washing our hands and hand sanitizer for the good of our community and the good of our own health. So I was driving down the road yesterday and I saw a sign that said seating at a restaurant now open. And if you know me, you know that seating in restaurants and eating in restaurants is one of my most favorite things to do. So that sign made me very happy. But I realized as I was coming back to church that we're, again, changing how we live and the parameters in which we can operate in. So the whole term that I've come to really not like is a new normal. Not a big fan of that term. So the one good thing about all the change that's been going on in the past 3 months with the virus and now everything else going on in the news is that there's one thing that we have as Christians in our lives that will never, ever waver, and that's Jesus Christ. He's the same today, yesterday, and most importantly, he'll be the same tomorrow. So he is the rock that we anchor our life to and need to anchor our life to, because no matter what's going on around us, what's going on in society, what's going on in our health, what's going on in our family, there is a place that we can go that is unchanging and unwavering, and that's our relationship with Jesus Christ. So one of the things that we talk about new normals and we talk about changes and all that kind of things, as you notice, we stand here in front of the wall, the pictures of missionaries that are supported by our church. Every single picture represents a family, a person, and a life that at one point in time completely changed what they were doing and how they did it, with the exception of serving Jesus Christ. They moved their families to different countries, to different languages, to different environments, some of them hostile. All kinds of new for them, but holding on to their conversation and their relationship with Jesus Christ as the rock that enabled them to have the power. So we have our lives disrupted for a few months. We have our lives disrupted for a few weeks. We have our lives in the news disrupted for a few hours. But we have to remember that Jesus Christ and our relationship with him is solid. It is unchanging. And when we waver, we need to go back to that, and we'll talk more about that in a second. So one of the things I want to share with you is the Great Commission. Matthew recalls it as this, Matthew 28:18 through 20. And Jesus came to them and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth is given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age." Christ is with us always to the end of the age. We have to foundationally remember that key. So he tells us to go into the world. So what's your mission field? What's my mission field? It's different for every one of us. God has created a plan, a personal plan for me, for you, for Pastor Brian, for Calvary Assembly of God, and he wants to empower us to execute that plan. We celebrated Pentecost Sunday last Sunday. You need the Holy Spirit. If you haven't listened to Pastor's sermon about that, I urge you to go back and listen to that one, okay? Because God gave us a comforter, an encourager, and power to fulfill the plan that he has written for us. So, why did I give you the history of Foyer Talks earlier? Because yesterday was a bad day for Gregg. Stress of life, stress of work, stress of what's going on in life. I came out here, put my phone in the tripod that's currently holding a phone to record this message, and I just couldn't. I couldn't fulfill the plan that God had made for me because I was discouraged and I was overwhelmed with what was going on. So I took the phone out and I went home. And fortunately, God has blessed me with a beautiful Christian wife who was able to encourage me to hold steady. So I couldn't do it standing here, even though the Holy Spirit said, I have this, but I walked away from that. So we all don't necessarily do everything in a timely fashion and in that moment that God gives us power. But he has grace, and he has the ability for us to find a spiritual friend. Another message from Pastor Brian that you really need to hear. You need spiritual friends. It's an encouragement. It's the idea. And we'll talk in 2 weeks about a term called armor bearer, because we all need somebody as a Christian spiritual friend that we can go to, have permission to get in our face, to make sure we're okay, to check on us. And we'll do that in a couple of weeks. So remember, God has a plan for your life. Jesus Christ is the anchor that allows us to get through all things because he has equipped us to do it, not post-event, pre-event. So more about that later. Have a great day. See ya.